Hey, how you doing? Dave Fennoy here. Another Wednesday, another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. Hope everybody's doing okay. If you're here in Southern California, did you feel a little rain today? They said we were getting rain. It was just a little drizzle. We could actually use a little deluge here, I think. Clean things up a bit. Just me tonight, so I'll take a little time to say hello to some people. Well, Chandria Campbell, how you doing? Hamrick Ronald, how you doing? And while I'm waiting on people to stop by and say hi, a couple announcements. I did a Zoom class today. It wasn't so much a class as voiceover discussion and answering questions, kind of an interview on things voiceover with Celia Siegel and her group, and some familiar faces there. And it was so nice to be able to spend some time and talk to some folks, some students and former students, and students hopefully that may join me, people I don't know. But great conversation, great questions, and I want to say thank you, Celia, for inviting me. Also coming up, Voice Track San Francisco. For those of you who may live up that way, you probably already know. For those of you who don't, my second voiceover lesson was with Voice Tracks San Francisco when I lived up in San Francisco. I was a disc jockey at KSOL 107.7 KSOL. And that's how I ended up in Los Angeles. One of the workshops I took, one of the agents from SBV, Sutton Barth and Venari, at the time came up, taught it, and said, "Hey, you're kind of talented." Well, they're still going strong at Voice Track San Francisco, and now the student has become the teacher. I've taught up there off and on a number of times, and I'll be teaching again voice acting for video games on the weekend of this month, the 20th and 21st. Of course, we're not all back going places yet, so it's all going to be virtual, but I'm not sure if it's sold out or not. I'm telling you for information, but you might want to check if you're interested. There may be a spot there. And I'm doing another Zoom class for voiceover extra webinars. That's going to be on the 17th. That's next week. I think that's the 17th. With J. Michael Collins. He and I will be talking about and teaching a workshop on TV promos. So you might want to check that out if you haven't already. That's the voiceover extra webinars. Also, I'm going to mention again, Connection Open. I know Source Connect is the thing, and Google has their thing, but Connection Open works really well and has helped me a number of times in a number of situations where Source Connect failed me because they're so busy. Let's see, who else is here? Marion, how you doing? Miss Toro, Sean Burden, Brooks Corey, John Burgett, Veronica, how you doing? Mark, what's going on? Nikki Moe, Matthew Polino, Linda Baker. Okay, well, let's get started with what I was going to talk about here today, or at least start talking about. If you have some questions, some thoughts, anything that is in the voiceover realm, that's what this is for. Ask Dave Fennoy anything. And when I have my guests, of course, ask them too. But today, it just got me. Have you had that experience where you've gotten that audition for whatever it is, and you spent some time on it, you familiarized yourself with the copy, you know exactly what it's saying, you know what you want it to sound like, red flag, red flag, red flag, and you do the audition, you do your read, you listen back, and it's just not what you thought it was going to be. You were looking for something more conversational, something more one-to-one, and it just wasn't that. Well, there's some things you can do to change that. One of the things I find with most students is spending way too much attention on the words themselves. The words have to be said. We do want to hear them, but we don't need to overhear them, and we don't need to hear them at the expense of everything else. And that everything else is the person you are. And I'm going to talk about commercial work right now because that's most people's entree into voiceover. Of course, nowadays it's a lot of audiobooks, but traditionally, commercials is where most people start. And the commercial read now is very different than it was, say, 20 years ago. We don't want to be sold. We want somebody that perhaps reminds of us or somebody that we know, care about, a character that we have some kind of familial feeling with. We want to hear from somebody that's just sharing this information. And what they typically call that is the conversational read, just a guy. It's one of the reasons that guys with very deep voices now, we're not hearing as many of them on commercials as we used to. And we're hearing a lot of medium to high-voiced men and women who have what a lot of people call the nothing read. Oh, it's just a guy. It's just a guy saying something. Hey, I went to this and this happened and I bought this and it was wonderful. But it's a voice that you can trust. We don't trust the professional voice anymore. And you're trying to get that sound and you're wondering why it's not working. Well, I'm going to suggest you pay less attention to the words and more attention to the message. That you don't try to stress any particular word, that despite the fact that, yes, we want to hear the name of the client, that you don't have to stress the name of the client. You don't have to stress any of the verbs or adverbs. You don't have to make anything any bigger than it just is. I think you'll find that the less you do, now you still, have to have a thought and a heart and an opinion, and a point of view and be talking to somebody. But the less you are concentrating on the words you're saying and emphasizing this word over that word and making this word special, the more you're just going to sound like somebody just talking to you. And I know I've mentioned this before, I'm going to mention it one more time. One of the best things you can do for yourself to find out who you really are is record yourself when you're not trying to be your professional self. Tape yourself when you're hanging out with friends and family and just having a conversation. You guys kicking it in the house, just a few friends or a few family. Hard to do these days with the quarantine and whatnot. But or maybe even talking to somebody on the phone and you turn on your recorder on your phone, or if you're using a house phone. Does anybody have a house phone anymore? If you're using your house phone, turn on your recorder and record there to hear what you sound like when you are being you. And then you listen and you practice being you. I mentioned this before. Another exercise that you might want to do is to tell a little story, something that's important to you. Think about it for a minute before you go into it, so you're not all ad-libbing and trying to come up with something that has happened in your life, good, bad, indifferent, funny, not funny, whatever it is. Something that you know the details of because it's your life. And record yourself just saying it, just telling it. Then transcribe it and try to read it as yourself. You'll be surprised how difficult that is. And you begin to understand that, oh, I thought I was being me, but I'm not. There are certain imperfections that all too often we're trying to avoid when we're doing voiceover, and a hint of those imperfections are what make a real read real. Okay. Well, no questions? What? Come on now. Well, thank you. Hey, Raja Baruti, what's going on? Jay Horace Black, how you doing? I'm kind of vamping here, so somebody can ask some questions. Well, I've got another thing here to talk about, but come on. You got some questions about a particular genre, or how to promote yourself, or how do you get into this? How do you get an agent? Blah 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 blah. I mentioned this today in the hour long class that I was doing. I have a number of students, and one student I was working with, really talented guy. And every week, we're working on video games, and we're working on these scripts. And every week, he's got this iPad, and he's reading off of this iPad, and he's holding this iPad in his hand. And every week, for several weeks, I'm going, dude, you got to get the iPad out of your hand. You got to get the iPad on a stand with your microphone, so you're just looking at it and your hands are free and you're not doing this and trying to talk into the microphone. And we had a couple conversations. Oh, I can't find the thing that would fit my mic stand and blah, 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 blah. I went so far as even went on Amazon and found iPad holders for mic stands, and a number of them, and sent him that. And so this last class I had with him, he says, yeah, I told my wife you really kind of chewed my butt about holding this thing. And like I said, he's a pretty talented guy, doesn't have a bad read. He is already working, but he just couldn't seem to get the words off the page. And I knew that holding that iPad had something to do with it. Well, he got the stand. He put that thing on the stand. His hands were free. And even I couldn't have imagined what a difference it makes to have your hands free, to not be encumbered here trying to hold a piece of paper, trying to hold an iPad, trying to hold your phone. Please stop doing that. You are hurting yourself. Some of you are going to go, oh no, but I can read it. I can see the words. Yeah, my eyes are young. And but it's this, holding it, and it's having to look so much closer at those small words. Now, it's not just that you have to spend a little more energy looking at it. It's also where your body is. Most of you have your stands. If they're below you a little bit, they're tilted up. So you're not looking too far down. You're not doing this or this. Your best position is this. Your best position is looking straight ahead at what you're talking about. You can have your mic, like this mic I have right now, is below me. So my voice is hitting it. You might be mic'd from above. You could be at an angle. This is one of the reasons we all love the 416. You can mic it from far away. You can mic it really close. You can mic it at an angle. And it doesn't have to get in the way of the words that are in front of you. Well, what I discovered, first of all, because he had it out of his hand, suddenly he has freed himself from having to look so carefully at the words. The words are in front of him, and he can just say them as opposed to read them. Because ultimately the words are only there to remind you of what you're saying. You're not really reading them. And his performance improved at least 100%. The other thing I discovered was, and I thought I knew this because I'm the guy that always says your body informs your voice. Voiceover 101, you want to sound like you're smiling, put a smile on and suddenly sound like you're smiling. You want to sound like you're strong and important, just sit up a little bit and you will sound more strong and important, because that's what your body does. I didn't even know how big a difference it would make in him, because he was looking down so much. Just that stole a lot of his power. So keep that script in front of you. So you're up. So you're present. Your body is in its strongest position. You can slouch if you need to slouch to make something sound a little sad, or even lift yourself up higher if you need to make yourself sound a little more. And notice I'm not doing it here. It's just from the body language. Free your hands. Gesture. But not just gesture like, I've got a lot of attitude, so I have to do this. What would be the gestures of the character you're playing? And when I say character you're playing, I'm not even talking about necessarily video game characters or animated characters. If you are a spokesperson for a company, you are being a character who is sharing this information. What's the worldview of that character? What's the posture of that character? Let that come through, and it will help this. As my friend Mark Esdale said last week, your voice is the exhaust of everything else in the vehicle of your acting. All right, well, let me see what everybody's saying over here. Jay Horace, what's the procedure for getting copies of spots we've done that are currently aired or are airing, or airing? Okay, I think you said the same thing twice. Do we reach out to an ad agency, or is there a protocol for doing this? Ordinarily, when you're doing the spot, and this is a multi-part answer, when you're doing the spot, ask them then. Make sure you let them know at the time you're doing the spot that you would like a copy of it. Find out who the person is who's going to be responsible for that and jot it down. And get their email address so you can remind them. A lot of times they have the best of intentions, but we get busy. I forget to call people back or answer this email. Other people do it as well. And then also tell your agent you would like a copy of that spot so they can ask for it. Now, understand you're not going to get that spot until it's running. And depending on when that is, it might be, from a few days to a few weeks. But that's the way to do it. And if you haven't received it in a reasonable amount of time, 3 or 4 weeks, a month, if you've got that email, you can request again, or you can ask your agent to do it. But keep in mind, agents are busy with lots of other things as well. Luc de Villars, bonjour, ça va? Ça va? Ah. I have a question about your role in Mafia 3, where you play the way your character speaks. There's a strange way to speak, a melody in the way he speaks, where the accent or style of speech is from, because it's awesome. Oh, thank you. He was from New Orleans, and he was a disc jockey from New Orleans, an underground disc jockey. If you haven't played Mafia 3, kind of a controversial game. The setting is Vietnam War era, and a young man has fought in the war and come back and discovered that between crooked police and crooked mob and racism, there's a lot of taken care of that he needs to take care of. And my character is an underground revolutionary DJ that keeps piping in to people when they're in their rooms or in their cars. And that's a great role. And now ordinarily in a video game, you have copy that's a few lines at a time, maybe a couple of words, maybe a paragraph. All of my dialogue was like a page long. They were just rants, and you had to really rant. It was a challenging and rewarding job because of that. And I like the character. Marion and Toro, I'm in the process of looking for agencies to contact. One of my clients was kind enough to drop a couple of great names. I lost my place there. However, neither of us is clear on the proper etiquette about contacting them. Should she send an email promoting me, then I send one after, or should I just send one and state she recommended them? There's not really a protocol per se. It's always a wonderful thing if that person will introduce you and send that tape. That's a great thing. Not everybody's willing to do that. But if she's willing to go to bat for you and suggest so that you put in your email, Hi, I'm Marion, and my friend so-and-so suggested I get in touch with you because I'm so wonderful, and she thought there might be a place for me on your roster. Um, I hope you'll have a few moments to listen to my demo, and I'll look forward to hearing from you in the not too distant future. uh, Something like that. Something like that. As you may recall, when I had Bo Oliver on, one of my agents, it takes a bit. Agents are busy, so they're not just, oh, hey, look, we got a tape to listen to. They're getting dozens and dozens of tapes every month. So it will take them a little while. And the thing that might get them to put yours at the top of the list is a letter like that, or it coming from a trusted source like a coach that they're familiar with and like, or another client of theirs that they like. Okay, Michael Glover, good to see you today, man. Finishing an audition. We'll watch the second half. There you go. Do your thing, man. Thomas, it's so good to see you here, man, because I know you have been having those health issues, and it just lets me know that you are in recovery, and that's what you're telling me. Recovering from triple bypass heart surgery. I need some exercises to get me back into my old voice. What are you suggesting? One, do it slowly. I would start with breathing. I would just do deep breathing, both nose and mouth. Now, ordinarily, we don't want to breathe through our mouths. As a regular thing, we want to use our noses, but do both. Do both, and sit up straight. If you're having pain, the pain is telling you, oh, that's where I stop here. You don't want to push it beyond your pain level. And just start speaking. Don't try to speak particularly loudly. Just start speaking a little bit and make sure you're hydrated. Sometimes after surgery, especially the kind of surgery you've just had, your whole inside is dry. So you want to stay hydrated and don't push yourself too hard, but start talking on a regular basis. Don't have to start loud. As you feel better and stronger, speak louder and louder. Okay, Raja, totally good advice. You have to use your body. Yes, baby. Linda Baker, any advice for adjectives to describe our voice? I was told I sound familiar. I think it was best feedback yet that helped. Sound familiar? You sound like somebody you know. You sound like a good friend or an old friend. Things like that. Familiar typically is something, oh, we want something familiar, comfortable. That would be a word. You know what I do? Crack open a dictionary and start looking for synonyms for familiar. Mark E. Matulis. What would be a reasonable rate for an indie non-union video game per word, per line? I've seen 8 to 35 cents per word, thanks. I have never seen a video game charged by the word. That's interesting. A lot of narration is charged by the word. I've not seen a video game charged by the word, but it's a big old world out there, so I won't say it doesn't happen. Some of the rates that I see for non-union things that are a decent rate, about $2.50 an hour. And if you were to add that up, $2.50 an hour, 2-hour minimum, you're hitting about $500. If it takes more than that, you might actually hit union rates. But I wouldn't look to work for somebody that's paying you less than that. Hamrack Ronald, if, for example, someone hasn't studied acting, yet had several projects she did voiceover work for, can the person be called a voice actor? Well, sure. There are a number of movie stars, TV stars, stage actors that did not go to school and did not take acting classes. Just like there are many self-taught musicians who can, hear around the corner and play any damn thing they hear. Some people are just born with more talent and an empathy for the human condition that allows them to just do it. Jennifer Lawrence comes to mind, and I know there are a number of other actresses and actors out there who just have the talent. By the same token, there are people who have studied and studied and studied and studied and may not get it because they don't have the talent. Maybe they develop a certain amount of skill, because that's what you have talent and you want to develop skill. And if you have this much talent, maybe sometime that talent finds those skills on their own. But learning all the skills won't necessarily make you talented. But talent varies. Janet Peters, I'm popping in to pick up the best pointers from you. Hope all is well. Glad to be here too. Oh, thanks, Janet. Good to see you. Brooks Corey, when it comes time for me to upgrade my studio, what are some good pieces that sell good quality, good places that sell good quality vocal booths? Well, probably want to look for the name brands. Now, it seems to me what you're saying is you want to step up beyond Vocal Booths to Go and the sound blankets with the PVC pipe. The brands that have been out there are Vocal Booth. I have a Whisper Room. There are a few other brands out there, and of course, the newest thing is Studio Bricks. Now, if you're looking to save money, you don't want to buy any of those new. One of the best things about buying a used booth is, what do you do with the booth? If you buy a car, it's going to have some mileage. It may have some mechanical problems. You buy a booth, it's 4 walls, a ceiling, a floor, a door, a window. There's not much to go wrong with it. You don't have to change the oil. So chances are, even if it's been sitting around for a number of years, it's still in very good condition, unless there's some water damage or something like that. Somebody ran into it with a car. How would you do that inside the house? But I would price some new booths, and then I would look on Craigslist for vocal booths and whisper rooms. I bought my whisper room from a guy in Chicago. It was about a $9,000 booth at the time. I bought it for $3,000. It cost me $1,400 to ship, so I ended up getting it for half price. Garrett Davis, do you sit or stand when recording most of your voiceover work? I'm a stander. I'm always standing. Posture of character, yes. They never send me back. They never ever send me back. I ask my agent, is it a challenge? Are we talking about sending the work you've done? Yeah, definitely ask your agent. I typically get mine. I mean, there have been times that I haven't gotten them, but if I really want it, I get them. They tend to remember for some reason. Sometimes you just have to be a little. Just keep asking. And that's one of the reasons I say in the session, at the end of the session, when everybody's still in love with you and you've saved their butt and, everybody's friendly. Oh, hey, I'd love a copy of this. Oh, yeah, we'd be happy to send you a copy of it. And so-and-so, take a note. Well, so-and-so, what's your name? What's your email address? Cool. I'll remind you. And once again, they're probably not going to send it until after it airs. Juki Jones, they act like you invited themselves to family Thanksgiving when you ask for copies of your work, though. I just tell my agents, I still don't have copies of some big work. That's interesting. Another place you can get it, what is it? iSpot. A lot of times you can find it on iSpot, and there are ways to rip it from iSpot and YouTube and other places where spots might be playing. Susan Bernard, hello Dave Fennoy, who produced your video reel? Do you use it for marketing yourself, or does your management team use it to promote you, or when do you use it? A buddy of mine, Adam Harrington, who is another voice actor, did my reel for me, I have not updated it in a long time, unfortunately. I need to update it. Um, but in talking about reels, probably it's more important for somebody who is newer in the business to get their reels, keep their reels updated and promote themselves with their reels than it is for me. I've been around a long time. People know who I am. I get hired on my auditions and on reputation and work that I've done for uh, this company. That, oh yeah, he'd be great for that. Let's call his agent and book him. Does that mean I don't audition? No, I audition every day. Does that mean I get all the parts I want? No, I don't get all the parts I want. My heart gets broken too. But I think when you're somebody who is just starting out, or somebody who's, you're more seasoned than a beginner, but the industry doesn't know you as well, then you definitely have to make sure your demo is the bee's knees. Did I say that, the bee's knees? I think I did, yes. You have to make sure your demo is great, needs to be better than mine, so that you get their attention. There are a lot of great voice actors out there. I think I mentioned on Facebook an audio book I'm playing a character in with a number of some of my favorite video game voice actors. Proud to be on that list. So get it out there. Get it done. Get it out there. And who do you promote it to? Yes, you asked me that too. Well, if you're looking for an agent, that's one of the ways to get one, is to send that great video game demo to that agent. And two, spend some time on LinkedIn and on Google discovering who are video game developers, who are video game casters, who are video game directors, and get to know a little bit about them, and send them your reel and a short note and let them know that you are available. In getting to know them, get to know something about some of the work they've done, so you don't come off as this person out of the blue. And I'm sure many of you have gotten these notes on LinkedIn, where it's just, "Hi, would you like to use my skin softening service?" And you're like, make sure they get a feeling that you actually know who they are, what they do, that you're just not blasting out a bunch of information, a bunch of requests, that you seem more legitimate and less just an opportunist. Luc de Villars, when you go through a job, video game or voice dubbing or something that can be simply is controversial, do you just go through the job and go home afterwards, or do you ask questions about the directors, where the project is going, and should we, young voice actors, ask questions when we feel that the character we will voice can be slippery? Interesting question. I get that more often about commercial work, but think of yourself as a character in a movie, because video games are most like movies where the player gets to make some decisions that ordinarily you don't get to make when you're sitting in a movie theater in front of your television watching the story. The story goes from beginning to end. The player gets to have your character do a number of things. There are some controversial movies. There's some controversial games. I think our job as actors is to bring characters to life. And I don't think that the public is judging us on the characters we play. I think the public will judge us, however, on how well we play those characters. I actually enjoy playing characters that are a little edgy, a little controversial, that have a message that connects to what's going on in society now. We don't always get that. And when we do, I think it's a gift rather than something to worry about. So just think of some of your favorite actors in the movies they've played in. I think of a Denzel playing Malcolm X. Maybe that could have been thought of as a controversial role for some people, but he was spectacular. The movie was very good, and it's a historical character that more people need to know about. And we're seeing that now. Uh, uh, what is it? Judas and brain. There's some very good controversial movies out now, and I promise you, nobody is going to blackball any of the actors who are playing any of the roles. They are going to be rewarded not only with money for playing the roles, by we as a society for being brave enough to bring truth to those characters. Da-da-da-da. Oh, yeah. Michael Haskins, good note. Talking about a booth. You can make your own booth. You can build your own booth. If you have some carpentry skills, I would not try to do it without a little research. But you can go online and find out how to make a decent booth for yourself. In my old house, I built my own booth, and it worked just great. Which projects can you audition for? You know what? Why don't I do this? That's what it's made for. I can pull the question up there. Duh. Which projects can you audition for? Only for the ones your agent's in? Or how does that work? Well, I have several agents, so I get auditions from them. And sometimes you get auditions from people you have worked for. And they'll ask the question sometimes, I think you'd be perfect for this. Here's the audition. Should I go through your agent to book it? Yeah, sure. Go through my agent to book it. I would not. One of the things you can do, you get that audition that they sent you. You can share it with your agent. You can have them handle the booking for you. They'll appreciate that. Okay. Let's see. Thomas again, considering you are a seasoned VO veteran with a long history of success, how many auditions do you do a week, and what is your typical win ratio? You can include jobs handed to you for the wins. I have a pretty good ratio. I do a lot, but I've never been the guy to go, oh, let's see, how many did I do? How many did I book? I work a number of times a week. I won't say every day there's a job, but every week there's several jobs. I've just never been the person that, I did this many auditions, I got this many bookings, but I know I book a lot. And it varies the number of auditions I get. I might get no auditions in a day. Today, it was the last couple of days. It's been a plethora of auditions. So many, I couldn't get them all in. I had to decide, okay, how am I going to categorize these to which ones I'm going to do. One of the things I do, if it's short and easy, sometimes you get some one-liners in a commercial. You're playing dad. Hey, can you make some pizza? I'm going to send that in. I'm going to do that. I'm going to send that in. And then there'll be something that's a long narration about a subject I'm not that interested in, and the money's not that good. We won't worry about that. A video game character that I really like, I'm going to make sure I get that in. A cartoon character that I like, I'm going to get that in. Things that a commercial that I may not be that interested in, I might not do. I might choose a different commercial over that. Sometimes it's just time. Because I do a lot of teaching now, I might have 2 or 3 students in a day, and I have to, move things around, jobs around. Sometimes jobs are, they let you do them on your own, or pickups from a job let you do them on your own. And as I tell all my students, look, chances are I'm going to have to move you around at some point. We're going to have to reschedule. That's just the nature of it because I'm a working voice actor. And people tend to understand. Uh, but, I had 4 games last week and a couple of commercials and a couple TV promos. And I haven't counted this week, but I've got a game at the end of the week. I've got something tomorrow. I didn't have any bookings today. Uh, let's see. J. Horace Black. How soon can one get a coaching session with you? Do I have packages to cover when an actor gets the same day or next day audition? I do. One, you just go to the website and book yourself. You can buy 1, you can buy 5, you can buy 10. You pay less when you buy more. And yes, I do half-hour sessions to work on an audition. Sometimes we'll do. I think I have on there. We can do as little as 20 minutes. 20 minutes. It's getting pretty close. But yeah, you can buy sessions, just shorter sessions, just to work on a particular audition. Jim Bancole. Hey, there, please see Sean Burton's question above. I actually have the same challenge. Okay, scrolling, and once again, what am I thinking? There it is. See, there's the question he asked me. Now I will scroll. Sean. Okay. And let me move that because... Sean Burton, what are some techniques and how not to focus on not making each audition perfect? I feel like I'm a perfectionist and it takes me hours to do just a 30-second audition. What can I do to get higher volume and quality auditions done? Well, perfection isn't perfect. The perfect read isn't necessarily perfect. And what I mean by that, there's no one, perfect right read. Make it good enough. Make it believable. If that's the question that you should ask yourself. Not is this perfect? You're going to hear stuff in your read that other people aren't going to hear. You're going, I need to hit that word. I need to shorten that. I need to do this. I need to do that. Let some of that go. How is the read in total? Is it believable? Do you believe it? If you believe it and it's hitting enough of the things that they're asking for, great. Relax and let it go. Think of it this way, maybe, that, the more auditions you do, the more you're going to book. It's kind of like a salesman. When I say you got to make 100 calls to get 3 sales. So crank them out. Don't get too fixated on each audition. One of the things about getting better in your craft is that you learn to do it faster. Okay. Thank you, Judas and the Black Messiah. That's the movie I was thinking of. Mohammed for VO Booth Desk. Is there a preferable material? Should I look out for echo proof, or can you just get around it with soundproofing? Yeah, you don't have to worry too much about a soundproof desk. I have a big old wooden desk that I built. I built the desktop, and then I've got my desk will go up and down electronically. So I thought if I ever wanted to sit, I'd want it to be able to go down. It's hardly ever down, but I have found now if I'm going to do mocap auditions where I have to videotape myself, I can pull a screen across the back. I can lower the desk so my camera comes to face height, which is about where you want it, and do my audition from there. Nikki Mo, and it's made out of 2x6s, so not necessarily soft stuff. Nikki Mo, being over 40 with a singing background, currently taking VO classes realistically, would it be hard to get into a career in VO? Hard is a word. There are challenges to it. There are things that you have to do, complete, prepare. Um, but I won't say necessarily hard. Um, if you have some talent, if you can take the words off the page, if you can touch people here and here, and you have the stick-to-itiveness to do the things you need to do in a timely manner, get trained, get your demos, um, do your marketing to both agents and the industry, uh, become a part of the voiceover community. So you have questions answered like this. That's one of the best things about this community. I won't say it's hard. It might take you more time than you want it to take. It might cost you more money than you want it to cost. You're going to need a home studio. That is just the nature of the business now. Do you need to have a 5x7 whisper room and a collection of microphones and so forth and so on? No, it can be much simpler than that. It doesn't cost as much to prepare a studio and be in this business as it once did. So I'm not going to say it's hard, but it is going to take some work and it's going to take some time. Excuse me. Michael Gover, Dave, I just wanted to thank you for the voice workout today. You had mentioned something about me finishing weak. Could you expand on that? Just a taste. I have heard that before. You were giving a speech, and you're talking to these people, and you allowed the speech to end weak. And what I was talking about is leave the crowd wanting more. Leave them on an up energy-wise as opposed to on a down. That's all. There you go again with that crying. Sheesh. Was that me? Oh, yes, Dave, remember, hit the button. What are some techniques on how to focus on not making each audition perfect? I feel like I'm a perfectionist, and it takes me hours to do just a 30-second audition. What can I do to get higher volume and quality auditions done? Okay, you did have the same question. I'm going to just say this. Tell yourself, look, I got 15 minutes to do this. If I'm not done in 15 minutes, whatever I've got, that's it. Luc de Villars, after a long career in voice ID. Oh, no, you know what? I had to back up. That's what it was, because I backed up because of Sean Burton's question. If you have an audition for a 30-second spot, how important is it being under that time in comparison to hitting all the other points of believability? You know, I have found from time to time, especially with 30-second spots, that they've given you 40 seconds worth of copy, and a lot of them are overwritten. What you should try to be doing, if it's written well, and about 8 lines. About 8 lines of copy is a 30. If it's 6 or 7, better. But what you want to hit is about 29.5. And if there's other things going on in the spot, less. You may be the announcer in a spot and there are characters in it. Kind of time what those are. A lot of times they will give you the time that they want it to be in. But as I mentioned, so many times the spots are overwritten. So what I will do if I have that case, I will give them that spot in the 30 that they asked for, that it's rushed and it doesn't sound good and people are going to, what did he say? And then I will do it in a comfortable pace. Because all too often what they're really looking for is a really good read, and then they're going to cut copy after they've hired somebody. Why? I don't know. Because we're humans. Okay, let's see. Susan Bernard again. Thank you, Dave, for always being there for your followers and letting us ask you anything under the sun. You are the bee's knees, and so is Mo. Oh, she'll be happy to hear that. Let's go back to Normandy soon. Got a boogie. I'm booking with you soon. Okay, great. That was a great trip. Joining J. Michael Collins for one of his extravagant voiceover retreats. Everybody got treated like kings and queens. We learned a lot, and it was so much fun staying in a chateau in Normandy. It was fabulous, actually. I stayed in a room. My wife and I stayed in a room where Joseph of Austria, the younger brother of Marie Antoinette, had stayed. There was a picture of him hanging above our bed. It was fabulous. Okay, Nikki Mo, I have a home studio sound booth. My husband is a music producer. Thank you for answering my questions. Very encouraging. Good. Hard is, it's few things are really, there's some things that are hard, being Sisyphus, pushing that rock up the hill, that's hard. Having to dig ditches is hard. What we're doing is not so much hard as it takes a certain amount of time and learning and effort. Most of it, you're not really breaking a sweat. It's not dangerous. It just requires you to be persistent and consistent. Natalie Hitzel, how you doing? What do you think commercial VO will be like in 5 to 10 years? Man, that's a good question. Well, technologically, we're looking at all these AI voices that are coming out. If you're scrolling through Facebook, you keep running across real-sounding AI. It drives me nuts. I really don't think they are going to take the really good work. The people who are on Fiverr now, the people who are on the pay-to-play sites and taking those, $100, $150 jobs, $200 jobs, I think it might eliminate that work because the people who are offering those amounts of money aren't looking for quality. They're just looking to get it done as cheaply as possible. So be the best you can be. Be that person that when people hear you, you're connecting with them here and here. You're not just a beautiful voice. You're somebody that's touching their soul. And none of those AI voices are ever going to do that. Da-da-da. Where can I connect? Let's just put it on the page, Fennoy. Wake up. I must be sleepy or something. Where can I contact you to do an interview? I tried on Facebook, but you haven't responded yet. Oops, my bad. You can send me an email. I'm easy to find, davefennoy@mac.com. And I will also look on Facebook and see if I can find that hammock. I do a lot of interviews, and sometimes I won't say I'm ignoring them, but sometimes I haven't responded because I've been busy. I'm juggling a lot of plates, teaching, working, doing this, trying to live an otherwise normal life. But I will do what I can. Oh, you asked that question twice. Well, I think that about wraps it up, unless somebody has something. And there. Let's see. Do you think that AI will touch gaming animation work? No, I don't. Now, in my imagination, I could imagine someone saying, we want an AI voice for this character. We'll just hire this AI synthesizer company for that. But the other characters, no. I could possibly see them doing that, but I don't even see them doing that in reality. Just popped into my mind. Let's see. Jimmy again. Which of your several websites can I book coaching sessions today? DaveFennoy.com. The simplest one. DaveFennoy.com. You just click the tab at the top. It says Study VO. It'll take you to the page. You can sign up and get one of my PDFs on voice acting, and you get that automatically. And you can book yourself, an hour, 5 hours, 10 hours, and there you go. Luke, once again, by the way, Luke is up late because he's in France. Well, especially these text-to-speech IA voices are costing almost the same price than a real voice actor. But it is true that we will have to not fight but share the voice world with these voice acting terminators. And you forgot one of my questions. Well, you should have put the question in here again. Then I wouldn't forget. I'm not going to scroll back this time. No, Luke, no. Looking at that, this text to speech. There are going to be some things that I think it's perfect for. We've already got text to speech in so many ways. I'm one of the Google voices. That's kind of well, it's not really text to speech, but it allows Google, if you're using the middle-aged cool black guy voice, it allows my voice to answer your questions or tell you what the weather is or give you directions to wherever you're going. And these are similar things. They're just using them instead of answering your questions to say these words that somebody else has written. But it will never, never, ever have the humanity, despite the fact that it's gotten a lot better. It's not going to have the humanity that real voices have, that perfect imperfection that we as human beings have when we're talking to somebody, when we're sharing some information, when we are playing a character. So I'm only going to be so worried about the text-to-speech. Jobs like you pull up to your favorite fast food restaurant and it's a text-to-speech when you push the button. Hi, how can I help you? You would like a burger and fries with it. Would you like a drink with that? I'm not worried about that voice. Let the guy who's at the window not have to do that. That's fine. Instructions for some things that you want to do. Fine. First, put tab A in slot B. No, that's not right. Wouldn't it be nice if, your IKEA furniture came with a little thing that actually told you what to do, as opposed to these instructions. You can't. What the hell are they saying? Why doesn't it work? Anyway, one more question, and I'm going to call it a night. I'll be doing these privates with you in the next few months, so looking forward to it. Oh, Matthew Polio, and once again, just move the thing over there, Fennoy. Looking forward to getting my video game demo produced. Thank you so much for all your advice. Nikki Mo, perfect comment to end. I'm changing my Google settings. All right. Okay, everybody. Well, that wraps it up. I will see you again next week. I haven't booked a guest yet, but I think I'm going to have a guest next week. I'm not sure who it'll be, but it'll be somebody fun and informative. And until then, take care of yourselves and book something. And oh yeah, for those auditions, give yourself 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes on a 30, 30 minutes on a 60, no more than that. Just force yourself to do it. Set the timer. When the timer goes off, well, damn, if I'm not done, I'm done. So often you're worried about stuff that you don't need to worry about when you're working on that 30-second commercial that you're trying to make perfect. So, see ya.